Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Lazio 3, Inter Milan 1. A disappointing defeat for Inter Milan, probably a surprising one as well. But Lazio were full value for the win. Absolutely well played. I can't really fault them for the effort, the enterprise they put in. The goals were well deserved. And I think Inter just looked a little bit off color. They just looked like they just didn't know what to do. There were moments in that game where Inter were on top, but they just never made it count. And uh, Lazio just took advantage of it. Lazio just made Inter pay. And the problem for Inter, of course, is the fact that they've got to go up against Bayern and Barcelona in the Champions League. They've got a very tough group. And on the basis of this performance, I don't think they're going to be much of a match for Bayern or Barcelona. Again, it's just one game and there's time. But on this game, at least if I could say anything, that's that they need to improve a lot if they're going to challenge those guys for a place in the knockout stages. So, but anyway, that's the Champions League. We'll focus on this game first. Inter made a good start. They made a very fast start in the first 20 minutes. And I think it was what was happening, and I think what Inter got right in that first 20 minutes was they were pressing high and they were making sure that they're winning the second balls. Every time Lazio had the ball, they were pressing them to make mistakes in the pass, and because of that, they won the ball back quickly, and then they would try to play it long to Lautaro, try to play it long to Lukaku, and then try and win the second ball. If when it on the knockdowns, things like that, they were trying to win that second ball, and Lazio couldn't live with it. They're struggling. They were struggling to contain them. The issue, of course, for Inter was they lacked that cutting edge in that final third. When they got in those positions, where they won the second ball, where they got where they pressed high and got the ball back, they just didn't have that quickness or that speed to know what to do with it. And to make sure that they made Lazio pay. Because often when you're on top, you've got to make the opposition pay. You can't just go, well, we played well. No, you've got to make the opposition pay. And I don't think Inter did that. They were twice on top and they just didn't make them pay. And that was the issue. I thought Lukaku was very average today. I have to say Lukaku was average. I mean, when he wasn't able to use his physicality, I just don't think he offered much to Inter. And it's possible. I'm just putting this out there. I'm just saying. I think Lautaro Martinez makes Lukaku look much better than he actually is. As a striker. That's just my opinion. I know people will feel free to give it. I disagree with it. I'm a United fan, so I have a right to hate Lukaku. I'm just saying I don't hate him, but I do have a right to criticize him. But yeah, I just feel that sometimes I think Lautaro makes. I think that partnership just works between the two of them. I think when Lautaro was playing, Lukaku looks a much better player than without him. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, the first 20 minutes after that, I think Lazio kind of got an idea of what Inter were trying to do. So instead of trying to be elaborate or trying to, I think what was happening was Lazio were trying to play out on the back. They were trying to, slow the game down, trying to, keep possession. But Inter were winning it back. So basically, what Lazio, I think, they made that swift change was let's just be slicker, let's be quicker, and they started hitting, quicker passes, and they started winning the second balls, and because of that, Inter then started getting lost that foothold in the game because if they were starting to play through them, Inter had to kind of drop a little bit deeper to make sure they were not getting caught out. But Denzel Dumfries was for me was very average today, very very average today, very bad game. Plus the play acting was out of order. But all the good attacks that Lazio were doing were coming down his channel on their left, which is Inter's right. They were coming from that side because I think Dumfries was getting caught up too far up the pitch, and they kept exploiting that space. They kept exploiting that space, and I mean. Inter just didn't know what to do with it. I don't know whether that was a tactic that Inzaghi got wrong. I don't know whether it was Dumfries being positionally indisciplined, but that was a real problem that Inter didn't address throughout the game. So coming to the goal, it was actually poor defending from Inter when you think about it, because it comes out to Milinkovic again. It's on the right from that left hand side. It comes out to Milinkovic-Savic. Nobody closes Milinkovic-Savic down. God knows why. He says, "Okay, I'll just put a pass in." He just puts a very simple pass in. It's actually very simple when you have the space and time to put that pass. It's a very difficult one, but simple when you have time and space. He just had all the time in the world to do whatever he wants. It comes to Felipe Anderson. Felipe Anderson is unmarked as well. Nobody picks up his run. I don't know whether that was the fault of Dimarco or whether it was Bastoni who was supposed to pick him up, but nobody picked him up. And he just goes, "Yeah, thank you very much," and he puts the ball in. It's a good header because sometimes those headers can, go off target. They can go over the bar, but he cushioned it very nicely. I'm had all the time in the world, of course, but still cushioned it very nicely into the bottom corner. And Inter were just rattled at that point. Like you knew Inter were rattled. They were struggling with the pace of the game. They were struggling to get a foothold. The break comes after half time. Immobile should have had 2 goals, by the way. Could have had a hat trick, but at least should have had 2 goals. I mean, the first one in the first half where he shot straight at Handanovic when he actually could have, done better. He had a bit of time to kind of pick a corner, but he didn't. He shot straight at Handanovic. Then in the second half, right at the start, he gets another opportunity, very well worked, and he tries to be clever, trying to go right near post to beat Handanovic. Handanovic sees it and then puts a nice, makes a good save. and puts it out for a corner. So I think those were two areas where I think in goal they definitely should have scored. There were a few other times when he got into good positions, a little more difficult chances, but those two he definitely should have scored. And thankfully for Lazio, they weren't costly. But that was a good start from Lazio. And then there's a free kick for Inter. And I do believe personally that the Inter did very well on free kicks over Lazio. They had the beating of Lazio on free kicks. For some reason, they didn't make the most of they didn't get a lot of set pieces. And I would have thought that they would want more set pieces because they had the beating of Lazio on most of them. And I don't know why they didn't try to get more set pieces, whether it's free kicks, corners. They weren't looking for that, but they had the measure of them. And that's the goal just came from there. Again, Lazio for some reason just went off to sleep. They won this. They won the first ball, and then for some reason they said, "Okay, and it's done." And they went to sleep. It comes out. I don't know what Provedel is trying to do there. So I mean, is he trying to catch it? I think he kind of gets caught in two minds. What I should do? Lautaro just says, "Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm just taking a shot." He takes a shot, and it's a nice finish. It's a good finish, and it's good thinking from Lautaro, but it really was poor defending from Lazio. All around that caused that goal. And 1-1 again, Inter went ascendancy. Dumfries had a free header, which again same thing. It was almost the same as what Anderson had. And you can see what's lucky about where Dumfries could have actually scored, but he tried to be again too clever by trying to head it downwards when he had the time to pick a corner, and Provedel made a save. But Inter were in the ascendancy for a little while, and then Lazio again Sarri switched it. He went to 4-2-3-1, 4-2-4, which is very risky when you go that way because it basically left them exposed in midfield. But I think it was a calculated move because he was thinking, I've got to push these. I've got to. The idea was to push. Either I push the wing backs back because they were the ones who were getting joy, or at the very least, the two wingers will have the freedom of running down the wings. And I mean, again, Inter just I don't know what it was, but Inter just didn't deal with that at all. And that's how again the ball comes out on the wings. Again, the goal kind of comes from the wing as well, but not so much. This was really all about Luis Alberto gets the ball and just smacks it. Nobody's stopping that. Those are the kind of goals that they come off, and when they don't come off, they look very, very bad. But it came off for Luis Alberto. That was a fantastic finish. So screamer, and the whole place went delirious. 2-1. I think Inter would have been really disappointed with that because they again had the initiative. They lost it. Lazio gained it back once they made the substitutions. Pedro looked very good by the off the bench. Alberto scored that goal, fantastic. It's 2-1. And again into another gosh, and they really didn't create a lot of chances. Even at 2-1 down, they weren't creating a lot of clear-cut chances. There were a couple of shots that Lautaro got. I thought he was Inter's best player today, but just nothing convincing, nothing with conviction. And then the third goal comes. It could have been a foul on Immobile actually, but it comes out to Pedro and he says, "Yeah, he goes around and just scores again." Inter defense all at sea. Not sure what they're trying to do. They couldn't cut out the pass from Milinkovic-Savic. They just left Pedro to say, "Okay, shoot and do whatever you want." Like, I mean, it's just bad defending. So for me, I think Inter's defense needs a little bit of work. I don't know what you could change there because I think that was their best defense, but they need to do something. They maybe need a little bit more protection in midfield. I don't know. Maybe get the wing backs to be more defensive minded because they were just being exposed. I mean, Dimarco and Dumfries were just being exposed every time at the back. So that's something for them to think about. I mean, Lazio will be really happy with the game. The problem for Lazio is consistency, isn't it? They'll pull these results out of nowhere once in a while, but then they just can't win the next game. They just can't keep going. So for Lazio, for Sarri, the one that's consistency. Because if they keep this level up, they could easily end up in the top 4 spots. They are top of the league now. They could easily end up in the top 4 spots, but the problem is keeping this level up. I thought Milinkovic-Savic was, for me, man of the match. I would say he was man of the match because he was involved in almost everything good that Lazio did. And some people might be tempted to give it to Alberto for that goal, or maybe Pedro. But I thought Milinkovic-Savic was very good for some of the passes that he was making. The Vecino looked pretty good as well in moments. But I really thought, for me, Milinkovic-Savic is the man of the match. But let me know what you think. In the comments, of course, who's your man of the match? And let me know your thoughts on the game. What do you think? What do you think Inter can change? How could they change? I mean, yeah, Lukaku and Dumfries really stumped up the place in this one. So that's something for them to think about as well, how to bounce back. But let me know. Do smash like for Lazio and for Milinkovic-Savic for that. And do remember to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Of course, we're gonna do more match reactions this weekend. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified as soon as videos drop. So please do that. Of course, we always appreciate your support as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.